And I got the thing to talk about. Bob is on the call tonight for Devils Maple Leafs in Jersey.
There you go.
And you can watch it on ESPN Plus. How you doing, Bob?
He loves that commute.
I'm not good.
Why? What's wrong?
I'm not good. I'm emotional. I feel like I'm more emotional than you guys are.
You think we should be more emotional?
I think if you don't cry, you don't care. I think there should be a lot of tears on Friday. That's my opinion.
And I think there will be.
I don't think there's going to be one from me.
That's on.
Yeah, I think we're actually going to fight. I think all of your deep-seated suspicions, Peter and Don, might be realized in the worst possible way on Friday. I don't know. I think you think Michael's going to lose it, or do you think you're going to find out the truth?
I think he's going to lose it. I think this is all facade. I think he's going to break down because I think he realizes how important this was and how emotional it is to have it come to an end. He's going to feel it.
I'll be fine, Bob. Don't you worry about me.
You're going to lose it. You're going to get choked up.
No, I really won't. I'm going to be Bob. I'm going to be good. I've never lied to you. I'll be good. Now, if you walk in, that might get me a little verklempt. If you walk in, yeah.
That might be motivation enough to show up.
Well, you're invited.
You know how I would describe Michael's emotions?
Yes, of course.
Michael's emotions, Bob. Michael emotionally, he's like if you opened up the back of a mechanical apparatus, right? And you wanted to see his emotions, you would find that all the plugs were in the wrong thing. Like everything was off. Don, nothing's connected the right way. The things that make him emotional, I feel like don't. And the things that you think would, he's kind of inhuman. He's borderline a robot. Respectfully.
He's like the ride that keeps breaking down.
Yeah, kind of.
Like the audio animatronic guy that just keeps saying the wrong thing.
Repeatedly.
Match the hand.
I can hear you guys. I'm right here.
Or like when C-3PO got injured and his guts were like coming out. You know what I mean?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes, but you are.
Hot take. Don, I have a hot take about this interview. I think Bob is high.
I think Bob just went to a Fish concert and got
he's been laughing
high
since he picked up the phone.
He's in a good mood.
No, you are invited. Bob, you're a Jersey guy. You are invited. I would like to see you there as my guest.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. What is the? Just send me the logistics.
Yes.
Beautiful. Bob, I liked what I saw of Aaron Rodgers Sunday. I thought he looked as good as he's looked.
Jesus. We got the 405. I thought we were going to get to at least 407 before. All right. Go ahead, Jets. Go ahead. I was optimistic. I thought we were going to keep the emotions rolling.
Well, wait. Unless you have...
Picking up the Beatles here, we're going to keep it going.
Do you have,
all right, go ahead.
Do you have a Juan Soto take?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Give it to us.
I'm with you. I think it's a buck more and he'd play in Miami. I agree with you.
Yeah, well said.
That is exactly what, and you know what? And that's fine. We've seen that before. Like Manny Machado was offered an opportunity to play in the biggest, most diehard, most most romanticized markets in baseball, and he went basically to baseball's witness protection program in San Diego, where if you win, great. And if you lose, really nobody cares because the sun shines all the time and everybody always has something else to do. So, right, like there are guys that just go wherever the money takes them. Alex obviously went to Texas when they offered the most money, and that's fine. I mean, that's absolutely fine. But, call it for what it is. And I'm a Mets fan, and I'm willing to admit that they had the deepest pockets. And look, this is what everyone that always dreamt of a Steve Cohen owner all of these years taking over the Mets hoped for. All of those years. that you'd hear the rumor that the Wilpons might be interested in the, top of the line, top of the A side of the menu free agent that you never got. The big ticket trade that they never pulled. They might go get this guy, but then you kind of settled for the B side guy because they weren't going to go get the top ticket guy. Well, now they've got the guy with the deepest pockets, and they spent the most money to get the mercenary. Well, I mean, that's what everybody always accused the Yankees of being. Well, now you've got the modern-day George Steinbrenner. So bask in it. You got your guy. You landed a white whale. So what's wrong with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said, Bob, at the beginning of the show. I'm not going to apologize for it. Now, do I like the way things are going in baseball where these billionaires can dip into their own fortunes and buy players? No, but if this is the current climate, if this is the way to do business, we've seen other teams do it, and for a long time the Mets were a small market team because of the Madoff situation, and now they're not. And you're right, we celebrated Steve Cohen not because of his bubbly personality. We celebrated his money. And now we're seeing what we were celebrating come to fruition. Why should we apologize for it?
By the way, this is nothing new. How long has this really been foundationally the story in baseball? I mean, obviously the Central Division teams are mostly populated by lower payrolls, and somebody in the Central Division markets makes the playoffs. Right, the Cubs, obviously, the Cardinals, they've got some deep pockets to a certain extent. Nothing like the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and the Braves. Got that. Okay. But for the most part, I mean, and I get that you're going to get different participants in the World Series because the sport, by its nature, is random once you get to the playoffs in a short series. But the real test is who makes the playoffs. Well, I mean, how many years have the big payroll teams made the playoffs? The Yankees make the playoffs over and over and over and over again in some way, shape, or form. And what's their biggest advantage always been? They spend the most money. So now the Mets have an owner that can go do that. Great. Yes. And they bought Juan Soto. Okay. Well, now they're the Yankees. So why would they apologize for that? Why should a Mets fan be ashamed of that?
Well, that's the weird part about the last couple of days. They seem to want to have a different narrative that he chose them because their future is brighter, that he got a suite, that the Yankee security kept his mom out of an area earlier in the well, to me, it's only about the money, and it doesn't make him bad and doesn't make the Mets bad. Embrace it. That's your superpower now.
Yeah, I mean, what is Juan Soto's contract going to be worth? What were the final numbers?
$765, and with the opt-out, over $800.
Gotcha. So he is going to make over, by the time the contract is done, if he sees it through, over $750 million. And we're going to try and come up with some narrative that this wasn't about the money. Okay. Great. I mean, tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself to lay your head down on the pillow at night, that it's not about the money. $800 million and it wasn't about the money? I mean, what conversation do you think they're having in places like Pittsburgh and Milwaukee and Kansas City and when they see that contract about this sport? Of course it's about the money.
And you know what? At the Dog and Pony press conference next week, there probably will be talk about how he loves how the Mets treat families, and his grandmother had a cat named Haji. They'll come up with all these things, but we know what it's about. We know what it's about.
There he's laughing again. The long laugh again.
For $800 million, they could buy him every white Bengal tiger in every zoo in North America and name it Haji. Who cares? Yeah. Right? He could own every suite in Citi Field for probably a month's worth of game checks. Right? What? All of that's just. That's just
nothing.
Dressing on top. It's $800 million. That's what it's about.
All right, now let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. Is this the Aaron Rodgers you envision?
Well, no, but I mean, this is not really the offense overall that I envision. I kind of talked about it last week. We made it to 412. That wasn't bad. I thought that this offense would be more diverse. And again, every Friday, I guess when, he walks off the practice field, he is, again, kind of blessing the game plan But the teams that play man-to-man against the Jets, I was shocked that the Dolphins gave the Jets as much zone as they did, and I think that was part of the reason that the Jets were so successful through the air, and that he threw for 300 yards for the first time in 3 years. I was surprised at that. I mean, they've got, some pretty good man-to-man corners, so I question the Dolphins' strategy defensively. Man-to-man defense has worked pretty well against the Jets this year because they don't really run a lot of man-beater stuff. But, at the end of the day, when they get to the red zone, when they get to the compressed area of the field, and that's where a lot of times you do see, even if it's zone kind of becomes man because there's just not a lot of real estate to work with. It becomes a lot of field goals. And, both teams kicked a bunch of field goals that kept a game where no one was punting, and yet it wasn't very high scoring, somewhat, close all the way through. And, if you kick threes and don't score sevens at some point, one of the two teams victimizes the other, and it turned out to be the Jets in the end.
Yeah.
So, but it's frustrating at the end the way it played out, certainly.
Did the way Rodgers play excite you, make you like? I don't know if there are actually fans out there who at this point would have been like, "Oh man, if he plays like that, we should do another year of this." Did you have any thoughts specifically about Rodgers' elevated performance?
No, I've had the same thought all year. If you just put Aaron Rodgers in a silo, just watch him throw the football, watch it come off his hands when he throws it and throws it, the way he can, like he can still deliver a football the way few can. To me, it needs to be schematically in a more modern NFL offense, and it needs to be in a more modern NFL offense that he will also embrace. And that has to be, those two things have to happen. It has to be a coaching staff that wants him, and it also has to be a scheme that he's saying, yes, I want to be a part of that. And hopefully he'll go back and look at this season and realize that the stuff that he used to do doesn't really work in the modern day NFL anymore. Like that, it's kind of a bygone era. This kind of old school West Coast offense, this isn't it anymore in the NFL. So, do I think if tomorrow Aaron Rodgers, this exact guy, was transported into, a Sean McVay or back into, the LaFleur offense of the Packers where he won a couple of MVPs? Yeah. I mean, I definitely think it can still work.
Yeah, because, that's people are going to look at. I mentioned yesterday, if you wanted to be an Aaron Rodgers apologist, you lost 3 games right off the top of my head. The game against Miami, the Colt game, and the Patriot game, you come up with a stop. That's 3 more wins. As bad as Aaron Rodgers has played at times, better coaching, this is probably a much better team. Do you think there will be a coach/general manager that will look at the product from 2024 and say, I want Aaron Rodgers to be a part of 25?
Like a coach somewhere in the NFL?
Yeah. Like whoever, the next regime come in and say, I looked at all the film, I looked at where this team is, I looked at what I can do, how I can make the defense better, and I can make this work with Aaron Rodgers.
There will definitely be a coaching staff, whether it be the new coaching staff with the Jets or somewhere else in the NFL, general manager, coach, sitting around a conference table saying, the best quarterback talent that we could bring here would be Aaron Rodgers. He would be better than anything that we have. But then the next question would be, how open do you think he would be to running what we want to and need to run? Because we can't run what it looks like he wanted to run anymore in New Jersey. And that would be a very logical follow-up question. And if he's open to change, if he's open to, modernization, then I absolutely think you can still win with him. At what level, I don't know. Can you actually go all the way to a Super Bowl? Can he pull a Tom Brady? That's a great. Can he stay healthy? for a 17-game season. I mean, he was hurt at some point during this year. There actually may have been a time or two this year where, like, I do think he gutted through a couple of injuries at a couple times this year where other quarterbacks would have sat out. Certainly quarterbacks his age or older would have sat out. I mean, I think he played some pretty gutty games this year that people might not even realize.
We might have been better off had he sat out, but hey.
Maybe that's a hypothetical, but I do think he has the ability still to play at a pretty high level in this league, but I just don't think this scheme is one that can beat modern day NFL offenses or defenses, pardon me. I just think that with spread offenses in college, with that all now integrating into the NFL, because there's a lot of college DNA now in the NFL, right? Like if you look at how Mike Leach and the red gun and all of that stuff that was kind of looked down upon 15 years ago by NFL elites, look at NFL offenses now. I mean, look at the DNA, look at those coaching trees, look at what Patrick Mahomes runs. I mean, it's a lot of the stuff that, the NFL snobs used to say 15 years ago, that's college crap. Like, we're the NFL. We don't do that kind of stuff. Now they do. And now you see a lot of this 3 and 4 wide receivers, spread everybody out, red gun type stuff. And now there has been a much greater emphasis, I think, on athletic corners that can cover, because you have to play a lot of man-to-man against these kinds of offenses. And now an old-school West Coast offense struggles against man-to-man. And it's just kind of the evolution of sports. And I think that if Aaron Rodgers would embrace kind of a little bit more of a newfangled way of playing NFL offense, can he still do it? Yeah. I truly believe he probably could still do it.
Are you a little sad? We started with sad, we'll end with sad, that, I read that Anthony Beck has actually interviewed for the West Virginia job. You might lose your guy.
He hasn't taken the job yet, but I would be happy for him.
So you don't like working with him?
Oh, my God.
Interesting approach.
I think this is maybe where there might be a little bit of a wry smile on Peter and Don's face on Friday when this all ends.
Thank you.
A little bit like that. But they might not miss.
Right.
Bang.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to...
Weird bad guy.
Let me just at the tail end of the interview do what I can to try and make someone's life miserable right before we hang up.
Well, I'm going to watch ESPN Plus tonight because the way you sound and as stoned as you are, I think Devils Maple Leafs, it's going to be tremendous.
Now, that was funny.
All right.
Right. He is just...
You know what? 2 more gummies, and I'll be ready. And,
I love the gummies, Bob. We love the gummies.
And I know you're like.
Well, it's been fun having you on. I'm sure you'll continue to be on the show, but not in the present iteration.
We're taking Bob.
Yeah, well, apparently not 1 to 3.
Well,
no, that was an immediate pass from Michael.
And we'll see you Friday. I sent you all the logistics. Bob, I sent you all the information, so I'll see you Friday.
Bob, if you prefer to be on 1 to 3, I would love to have you on.
Yeah, no, that was a backpedal of the high. That was like so transparent.
Yeah,
that was right. I mean, that was after I had to throw the bait in the water before. Now you have to, say that to make yourself feel good. After you tried to stir up Anthony and me in trouble, and that's too transparent.
Strange that you didn't answer the Anthony question. It might have been bad, but you didn't answer it.
I love him. I'll miss him if he gets a job that pays like 100 times more than the job he's got now.
Beautiful. Have a great call tonight, Bob.
That's called being a friend. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, thanks.
That was the Bob Wischusen report brought to you by Infinity. Experience the Infinity lineup at your tri-state retailer today.
Bob is just high on the fact he didn't have to get on a plane to do this game today.
Oh, it's a perfect game to do, right?
Now I will say that I know we don't have much time to get to ENN here, guys. Do you think that they can quickly put together a compilation of him hysterically laughing? I mean, he would not stop.
That was genuine, too.
No, I think he was high as a kite.
Don, that's that feeling when it hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, his face was probably red, like a goal was scored.
You think he was being driven somewhere by a driver, or was he driving in that state?
Well, you know what?
I'm sure ESPN gets him a driver.
Right, you're narcomaniacs. You're trying to see if you can get him in trouble. I wouldn't even bring that up, and I would assume he's doing whatever the safe, responsible thing to do is.
So, if I could try to put a little bow on this. So, as we head to the finish line, what you guys have decided to do in your secret meeting today, which I was not involved with, let's make Michael look as bad as possible and make him out to be as bad a person as could be, so nobody will miss him.
What?
Hold on.
Yeah, that's, I think, what we got.
Oh, my God.
That is an insane take. First of all, you make yourself look bad all on your own, all right? Yeah. We're just here. Why would you think we would do that?
Yeah, I could hear what you're doing.
Oh, jeez.
What do we do? Give us an example. What do we do?
Michael's a bad guy. Michael's not going to cry. If he was a robot, the wires wouldn't be crying. You know what? I wasn't born
Because you're saying that after 22 years of this show that you're not going to get emotional on Friday. That's not making fun of you. That's just accurately saying that you are a bad person.
So now you're going to put pressure on me to shed some fake tears.
Do what you want, man. I'm just saying that this was important to me. If it wasn't important to you, cool. Whatever, you got paid, you got your money. I got my money. Peter got his. But I invested a little bit more. And I'm going to cry like a baby. I'm going to cry like an infant. I'm going to drink like beer out of a baby bottle. And it'd be Blair Witch in the corner.
By the way, can we do one thing like gentlemen on the show?
I don't think so.
Michael, can we take one shot together?
Yeah, if you'd like, sure.
What would be your shot of choice?
You asking me or?
Yes.
Well, see, but I've got to be careful because I'm not a snotty person like you two. I'm driving there. You guys are being driven.
No, I may drive myself because Marco's coming, and I'm going to drive him home.
You're bringing Marco?
Yeah, Jalen's got her dance recital rehearsal. So it looks like Susan, my sister-in-law, is going to bring Declan and Marco. So it's a guy's night out.
And then they'll come home with you. Why can't you bring them home with the car service?
I don't know. It feels because he's still in the booster seat. I don't know if they'll put.
You need the booster and everything. That's a lot.
What is fraud?
How
have we not played that yet?
Yeah.
How have we not? By the way, I'm here to make an announcement. That drop is coming with us. It's coming with us.
Hear that again. I didn't know we did that.
Go ahead. Play it again. Has your dad yet?
Right tackle Evan Neal looked up towared the stands, raised his arm.
Oh, my God.
Wow, Don.
All right, you know what?
What is fraud?
Oh, dear God.
That whole part was fraud there, Marco.
We'll get a nice Zambuca shot. How about that?
What the
heck?
I hate Sambuca.
Or we can do it early in the show.
Let's do it every hour, every segment.
No,
I would.
No, because you want me to wrap around a pole on my way home. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping for, Michael. 22 and a half years, I said to myself, at some point, wouldn't it be great to have a holiday party? Get Michael drunk so he dies on the way home. It's all coming together.
ENN's coming up. It may be the off season, but every season is bigger.